International human rights law is very clear. Under international human rights law, states are required to have an independent, effective, impartial investigation into all maternal deaths. This means that there should be a system in place that ensures that there is formal and de facto independence for an investigating body. That means that there is no hierarchical or institutional connections between the investigating officers and the professionals that were involved in the incident. And it means that witnesses should be able to freely testify without fear for repercussions. Now, the purpose of this investigation under international human rights law is twofold. It is on the one hand to ensure the rights of the family members that are left behind, but it's also to prevent future maternal deaths, and to that end, to ensure the right to life and the right to health of all women in the country concerned. Now, in regards to these family members, the family members that are left behind after maternal death under international human rights law have a right to find out what has happened. They have a right to access to the investigating procedure, and they have a right to legal procedures for compensation if they want to do so. In regards to the right to life, the right to health, states are required to prevent maternal deaths. And to that end, they have to ensure that disciplinary proceedings or criminal proceedings are initiated if the investigation points to individuals that can be held accountable for the maternal death. States are also required under international human rights law to identify and to remedy structural or systematic flaws within the maternal health care system. Hence, the open disclosure policy that is currently being debated upon is not sufficient for Ireland to live up to its international human rights law obligations. This only focuses on one of the aspects. Similarly, the remarks by the Taoiseach recently in Parliament, in which he said, well, relatives may not want mandatory inquest. That is not sufficient to not abide by international human rights law, because a very important aspect is to prevent future maternal deaths. Ireland currently does not live up to its international human rights law obligations, because it does not investigate all maternal deaths. Mandatory inquests into all maternal deaths would be a good first step to mend this situation.